What's up, bestie?
You're listening to the Coffee with Your Besties podcast. We are your host, Alexis.
And I'm Nicole. Welcome to the show, friend.
We drop new episodes every Tuesday sharing our advice, experiences, and what it's like to be a solo entrepreneur.
Are you looking for your new besties who just get it? Well, here we are. We are ready to share so many fun things with you and bring on exciting guests along the way.
If you like what you hear, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a thing.
Grab your coffee, grab your bestie, and let's dive right in. Welcome back to the show, friends. We're your hosts, Nicole.
And I'm Alexis. Cheers, guys. So today's episode, we're deep diving into setting boundaries on social media and in our lives and what that all looks like. And obviously it's a little different for everybody, but I feel like it's something that we all struggle with just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys find yourself scrolling a lot on different social media platforms, but we know we do, and we spend so much time on it. We just looked up our daily screen time, weekly screen times, and we actually thought it was a little bit more than it was.
I was shocked that it was as low, but I think I was getting confused with like overall screen time and then social media in general, because that's what we're really like specifically looking at today. So we pretty much are the same. So we spend about an hour a day on average on Instagram, and then like an hour and a half I think on TikTok, right? Like a little bit more, which makes sense to me because like I do feel like I scroll TikTok a lot more than Instagram these days. And I do feel like if you would have asked me this question, I don't know, 6 months ago, my Instagram would have been like way higher. I just feel like, I don't know, I just started getting like discouraged from Instagram, and so I think I stopped using it a lot, and I think that's like what sparked this conversation, because I was like, a shift happening, at least for me on Instagram, where I'm just like no longer, I don't want to say seeing the benefits, because it is, Instagram's a cool tool, and it's really awesome that we have it as business owners, but it also is like, can be very like detrimental to your mental health.
It can be a little discouraging, especially because I do follow a lot of other photographers, and I just love supporting other photographers, but I do find myself sometimes comparing myself to them, and so I think it's like we're all on different pages. Some of us are traveling a lot, some of us aren't right now, and I feel like I get trapped in like, oh, I'm not traveling as much right now, like I want to be, and so it's kind of like I've had to kind of set a little boundary for myself of like, you know, maybe unfollowing like certain people that I just compare myself to, and it just makes me very negative. And so I'm just trying to find, you know, ways to just have it be more of like a positive, you know, outlook on Instagram.
No, I agree. I think like it's okay to set boundaries by, like you said, unfollowing or even like muting someone for a little bit. Like I think sometimes we think it's like you hate them. Like we associate it with like, oh, she hates me. And it's like, no, sometimes like for our own peace of mind we have to do that. No, so I agree. And I think I was just talking to you about this the other day. I was like on some of my other pages, like the podcast page and other things, like it's, I almost don't want to get stuck in the scroll, and I don't want to follow as many people. Like I used to look at it like, oh, like they want to look like they have a ton of followers and like they follow 2 people, right? Like I used to think of it like a negative thing. Like they do it because they want their numbers to look good. And now I think I'm like, or I think I get it. Like you want to be more focused on like what, like be more intentional, I guess, when you're on Instagram, for sure. Especially using it for business and not personal. Like I don't want to get stuck scrolling through like, and then especially following other creatives. Like, it's so hard because you're like, I want to see it. It's beautiful. But then like, why are they so busy? Why am I not busy? Like, why do they get to go to all these places? Like, why can't I go to those places? It's very like, it can be discouraging.
You get kind of trapped.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys feel that way on some level, like you're not alone. We feel it too.
We definitely feel it.
And I think that's why like this episode's so important, like setting boundaries. I think for me, what I started doing is I heard this really cool thing, and it was like for every like hour you consume content, you need to be creating content. So it's like,
I can see that.
Right? So it's like, so if you're scrolling and like you're using the app for fun, you should also then be contributing that towards it as far as like work goes, in order for you to like keep that business mindset.
You're kind of balancing it out.
That's kind of like where my head goes. And then I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I forget which one it was. If I remember, I'll put it in like the show notes. But they were saying so many entrepreneurs do, like, we spend 80% of our time doing things that don't make us money, and then only 20% of the time doing things that actually like are equivalent to
crazy.
Like earning income.
Yeah.
And so they were like saying for photographers, it's like the showing up to the shoot, you have to do that to make money. The editing, you have to do that to make money.
Yeah.
Curating your perfect feed for 5 hours, like you don't have to do that to make money.
Yeah, you don't.
It's the hard truth. Like we want it to look perfect and polished, and it's like it's just sometimes isn't that way.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. I guess there's different seasons because sometimes you have the time and like.
Yeah.
You know, if your like income and everything else is like where you want it to be, then sure, you know, spend 5 hours.
And I feel like there's other ways, like if you're kind of wanting to take a break on Instagram, like maybe you have a website and you really need to work on that. And I know like I need to take my own advice and work on my own photography website. But so through Instagram, that's where a lot of clients will find me. And so it's hard for me like not to be on it. But I think like still setting boundaries with it. Like you can still post, but maybe you just post and then you log off.
Oh my gosh,
like,
imagine.
Maybe you put your phone on Do Not Disturb so you're not getting Instagram notifications.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, when I'm editing during the day, I have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
I get so distracted.
The minute my phone lights up,
yes,
I'm like, ooh, who's that?
What is it?
Yeah.
What do I need to see?
It's so distracting. So I feel like definitely, like, if you still want to be on Instagram, if that's, like, where you're finding, like, most of your clients, post. But maybe you just take a little break and you're like, that's all I'm going to do on it. Like, no scrolling. Like, I'm just going to post.
Yeah.
And then maybe work on other things. Maybe it's your Pinterest. Maybe it's your website.
So
maybe you
many
need to just,
avenues.
you know, finish editing for the day. So there's other ways
you
around
actually
it.
do the job.
Yeah, do the actual job.
No, but it's so true. I think like, I think we get so caught up in like, okay, Instagram rewards you if you spend a lot of time on the app.
Yeah.
And so if I'm engaging with 30 people that I follow before I post, and then after I post, I spend another 30 minutes engaging, it's like, then I'll get more views. Then I'll get more, like, whatever, more insights. And it's like, maybe, and also mental health wise, because we're not talking about this as like a marketing, like, thing. Okay, like this is not a marketing episode. This is a setting boundaries episode. So like taking all the numbers out of it, if you feel like during those 30 minutes of like engaging, you're just like you leave the app feeling like, man,
wow, yeah.
Like I liked my post, I thought, and now I'm looking at what everybody else posted. I'm like, is it even good enough? Is it on par? Like,
did I say the right thing?
Right, is my caption long enough? Like, oh my God, we
Yeah.
can get caught up in that like
yeah.
comparison game. So, just a safe space to be like, raise your hand in the comments if like you get it, because we get it. Like, you're not alone. I think it's a universal thing that like sometimes Instagram is not great for our mental health. Yeah. So we love it, and we love it for marketing and all the cool things, but also like it's okay to set a boundary of like, you're only going to be on the app for an hour a day, and then you like, because you know, if you're an iPhone user, I don't even know, I think it's fine to say this, I guess there's not like weird copyright things, but anyway, if you're an iPhone user, you can set app limits, and then it'll be like, oh, you've hit your limit today, and like, sure, you can ignore it, and you can like, but if you're really, really, really trying to fix your boundaries with Instagram, be like, okay, I hit my hour, I'm done.
Yeah.
Now what else can I do?
Because sometimes you can just be scrolling or on it and you have no idea. I don't know usually how much
God.
time I spend on it. And I'm like, okay, I thought it was going to be more than an hour a day. I'm kind of shocked. Just
I was shocked.
I have multiple like Instagram accounts that I'm on and spend time on. And, you know, it's more just like being on my phone as a whole that I also need to work on too. It's, you know, just setting it away and, you know, spending more quality time with the people you love.
One of those things. And it's like every time we put our phone like up while we're doing something, it's like, oh, my phone is more important than whatever is in front of me right now. I'm that girl that's like, I now tell people, I'm like, don't talk to me until I put my phone down. Because anything you say to me,
learned that.
I'm like, I didn't hear what? I'm like, I didn't hear anything you said.
It's, multitasking can be hard.
Well, and I feel like I used to be fine at it. And then like, I don't know if it's just as I got older or if it's because.
Just zoning in.
Yeah, it's just like real. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't get any of that. So I think, you know, setting your boundaries, finding out what works for you, if it's an hour a day, if it's 3 hours a day, like everybody's different. And especially if you're like not a photographer and you're just like using Instagram for fun, I think the comparison can come in all forms though. Because even when I'm on my personal Instagram, I see my friends that are like buying houses and having babies and buying new cars. And I'm like, I'm not doing any of that.
Everyone's in a different season of life.
Yes, and it's so important to remind yourself that. And I think Instagram, like putting it down is it's easier to do that, and then you aren't thinking about it. Like, it's not top of mind that your friend just bought a new car. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And everyone's showing their highlight of their day. Like, not everyone's showing them, like, crying to themselves. I mean, some people do now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's true. There are people who get really candid.
But just, you have to realize, like, even if you're seeing someone travel the world, like, they might not be sharing, like, what's actually going on. And maybe they had just a really crappy, like, travel day. And they might not share about that. Or maybe they will. But it's also just taking into consideration of, like, there's behind the scenes.
It's a highlight reel.
Yeah,
like,
really
this is everyone's best moments. Rarely do people go, like you said, show up and they're bawling their eyes out. Like, maybe, but, like, not normally.
Like, I'm always crying, but you guys won't see me.
You won't see Nicole on her Instagram just bawling her eyes out.
It's okay. I'm just an emotional girly.
No, and we love that for you. I think that's the journey. Another thing you can do if you're feeling like, look, Alex, it's not realistic for me to just, like, delete Instagram or, like, turn it off. Like, I'm going to be on my Instagram app. I get it. Same.
Same.
What I try to do, and this is just, like, what works for me. It might not work for everybody, but, like, try to maybe implement this if you're looking for something new. I was really bad at when I open my phone. The first thing I do is go to Instagram. So now what I do is I do business stuff. The first thing I do is open my email, and I'm like, what can I answer today? I go to Honeybook, and I'm like, what needs to be responded to? Who can I, like, what client can I serve today?
Yeah.
And then I let myself go on Instagram and, like, do all of that. Like, I don't make Instagram my top priority when I wake up anymore, or, like, it's on my phone. I think for me, it took, like, I had to set that boundary of just, like, it can't be the first thing that's on the top of my mind. Sometimes I replace it with TikTok, but TikTok is, like, for fun for me. It's not a business thing.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, I don't leave TikTok feeling bad, at least not that I've noticed. Like, I haven't felt like my, like, mental health decline.
I'm always laughing with TikTok.
No, absolutely.
Like, TikTok is so much fun.
Oh, it's so fun.
I love TikTok, but
and I think, like, I got to a place with Instagram where I just decided, like, look, I'm not gonna look at this, like, as a business marketing tool anymore. I'm gonna try other things like SEO and Pinterest and other things.
Yeah.
Instagram is for fun. So I'm just going to literally use it like I use TikTok. And I try to just keep my mindset of, like, it's for fun. Like, if your post doesn't perform, who cares? Like, just go on, show your art to the world, and leave it at that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just...
Like, I'll see, like, a couple posts of my friends, and I'm like, of course, I'll always comment and support and stuff. But just setting that boundary and not just, like, endlessly scrolling.
Yes.
And just kind of being like, oh, I might have spent an hour on Instagram, might have spent 2. I don't know what time it is of the day.
Right, and then it's like, oh, I haven't eaten lunch.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'm still trying to, like, do all these things. No, it's such a time stealer. You can get caught in that scroll so easy.
Well, and a big thing, too, is, like, I've had to do this just because I don't really wake up to my alarms in the morning, so I have to set, like, my phone on the other side of the room is what I've come to find out. I'm like... I don't know what it is. I just can't hear my alarms in the morning. Or I, like, accidentally snooze them in my sleep. Crazy.
No, you have done that before, actually.
Yeah, when we're on trips, you're like, you didn't even hear your alarm. I'm like...
I was like, it literally went beep. And she turns it off, and I'm like...
I didn't even know I did that.
And she was like, I did? And I was like, I thought you were awake.
Yeah, so weird. But just with, like, not... hopping on Instagram right away in the morning, just kind of having your phone somewhere else. Like, you snooze your alarm, but then, okay, make your bed, brush your teeth, go do have water, drink coffee. Like, do your morning routine before you're hopping on Instagram and comparing yourself, because those negative thoughts right away in the morning can really just send
you into a spiral.
Can just break your day. Like,
oh, absolutely.
It just sets the tone for the day. And so when open your blinds in the morning, the sun's shining, and you make a good cup of coffee. Like, those are just things that, like, make me happy in life.
You turn on your favorite podcast.
Yes.
You just...
Hint.
You just do other things. No, so I love that. So let's talk about, do you feel like you have a good morning routine, or do you feel like every day is a little different for you?
I feel like I do. Okay. Of course, I'm sure there's days where, like, I'll see a text on my phone, and I respond to that first, and then you know where that goes. I go on TikTok. But we're trying, you guys. This is also advice for us, too, because we know we can always do better.
No, we're literally saying it to you, but we're the mirror. Like, we're saying it to ourselves. We're like, set boundaries. Okay.
Literally. But I feel like I love doing, like, my skincare routine. Like, I'm always, the minute I wake up, I'm craving coffee.
Yep.
And I know they say drink some glasses of water before coffee, and I know I'm trying, but that cup of coffee in the morning is my favorite thing ever.
Listen, we are not perfect people.
No,
okay, we're all just works in progress.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. it. So
and then of course with Benny, my dog, he's a hungry boy in the morning, so I have to go get him food. And so it's just little things that like gets me off my phone, and I know I need to feed him. I know he needs to go potty. So it's just other things and being on my phone that really just sets the day and open up those blinds, like, you know.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Yeah.
I have been working on like having a morning routine because I'm not a morning girly, okay? I thrive past 9 a.m., okay? But I am
That's
trying
okay. It's still the morning.
It is still the morning. It's still the a.m. So I love it. And that's like why I ask. 'Cause I'm like, I feel like if you do have a good morning routine, then maybe that'll help you not get stuck in this like scroll right away in the morning. You're just like, oh,
I agree.
It's like not it's not like first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah. Really like setting your day up, and you know, it's good just to like stay off Instagram for a little bit, especially in the mornings. And you know, just setting that healthy boundary with, you know, apps. And you know, sometimes it might not be Instagram for you. Maybe it's a different app. Maybe it's something else.
Maybe you're like a YouTube Shorts person, or like YouTube and you're like, I just watched 2 45-minute videos in a row. Like, oh my God, that's like that's a long time, you know? So it's true. It might not even be Instagram for you. It might just be another form of social media. But either way, it's still like we have to take a mental note of like, how is this affecting us?
Yeah.
Because it can be a little roller coaster sometimes, for sure.
It can be.
Yeah. So when you open Instagram, do you feel like every day or like most of your days you have like a lot of DMs that you have to answer back to, or do you feel like there's only like a couple?
I feel like there's only a couple, unless I post like a story
That's
or something.
super engaging, yeah.
Yeah, then more people will be like replying, or if it's like a client or something, you know. It just kind of depends on the day.
No, I get that. I think same for me. Do you feel like, are you the type of person that like you see a DM, you answer it right away, or are you the type of person that like your DMs pile up a little bit because you're just like, oh, I can't give it.
If I'm traveling, I take a little bit longer, but it's hard because sometimes when I see like someone asking for pricing or something, I want to respond
like that
second.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I'm like, I don't know, and maybe it's like you just reply to your DMs and that's it. You get off. Like,
I know, it's so hard.
You get off the app. Like, I don't know. It is hard, that part about DMs.
Because it can feed into your business, and you're like, oh, I don't want to like ignore a potential client. Yeah. What I've been seeing a lot of, specifically photographers, because that's like the industry we're in, and that's what we're probably going to talk the most about on the podcast. But I see a lot of photographers mention on their website, and they'll post it every once in a while, like, I do not respond to inquiries on my DMs. Like, if you're gonna send me an inquiry through my DMs, like, I'm not gonna respond to that.
Yeah.
Props to you, because
you respond right away, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I'm just like, I that's my problem with
when
like
you see it,
calling myself out. Like, I don't have the boundary of like, if I get, even if it's not like a hard inquiry, like it's like, hey, we want you, if it's like, hey, we need family photos, are you available? Like, I'm just like, immediately open my calendar, immediately like I'm like, yes, blah, 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 like, or no, but I can do these days. Like, I feel like I can't wait. I feel like I've put a lot of pressure on myself building my business of just like, communication is like everything. Like, you have to be on
you're
it.
very good at communicating.
Sometimes, but then also it's like 10 p.m. and I'm in bed and I see my phone light up and I'm like, shoot, gotta respond to that. So one big thing that I did that I was just telling Nicole about before we started recording was that I actually don't get any notifications on my phone anymore from Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest, like no apps. The only notifications I get are my phone text messages and phone calls. And then like whatever ones are like forced through the app or like through the iPhone program. But anyway, I think that helped me a lot because if I don't see it, I'm not thinking about it. And so maybe that's a friendly tip for you guys is like, turn all your notifications off. I know it's crazy. It's scary. It's like, oh my God, what if I miss something? Like, it's still going to be there though when you open the app.
Well, and another thing is like a lot of people are just working from 8 to 5. So it's like maybe we just have our notifications turned on from 8 to 5 and then after that. But I'm a night owl, so
well, I think like
it's hard.
No, and I think like that's kind of what I was saying with my morning routine. I'm like, I'm not a 6 a.m. girly. Yeah. So like same for you. If you're like, no, my working hours, it's different for everyone. I don't think that everyone should have to work like a 9 to 5. Yeah. That's why we became solo entrepreneurs. That's why we became business owners.
You can do 9 to noon.
You can do 24 hours if you want to be crazy. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Or sometimes it ends up being 24.
Feels that way a lot, especially in the winter. I'm just like, oh man, but no, it is good. And I think once you have those boundaries, replace like that part of your daily morning routine. Like if it's like you wake up and you're on Instagram, try to replace it with something else. Like maybe you wake up and you take a quick walk around your neighborhood, or you like make a fresh pot of coffee, whatever it is. Like try to replace that a little bit, and then save it for your afternoon. There's a lot of hours in our day, we don't need to spend 7 of them scrolling on Instagram or social media.
Yeah, and I think it's different. Like if you're scrolling and you're comparing yourself, that's different. Like that can be seen as negative, but if you're just like hopping on and replying to DMs and posting and like building your business, those are very two separate things. Absolutely. Where like you're building your business and you're staying positive and you're focused on yourself. Of course, like we're not saying like never scroll on Instagram. No, like we're scrolling too.
Absolutely, it's impossible not to.
But if you see yourself comparing and you're very negative about it, you're very down about it, you're having a terrible day from it, then just kind of, replace that with other things. Maybe go read a book. Oh, yeah. There's so many other things. Maybe just reply to some DMs and then you log off. And
I think like for me, I'm really trying to replace the like switching it from like boundaries and marketing. I'm trying to switch the Instagram marketing part of it with something else. So like for me, like I said, being able to treat it like it's fun and not treat it like it's my job and I have to show up every day and like be on my stories and all the things. Like I think when we add all that pressure, it's like now it's this new job. And like honestly, there's a reason why there's social media managers, because it really is like a full-time job if you let it be. But I just decided like I'm not good at the algorithm. I don't want to learn it anymore.
It's changing every day. So
I'm good. I'm just gonna show up when I can, where I can, and I'm gonna like lately I've been pouring more time into SEO. I'm like learning all about like how can I make my website the best, and like blogging and like things that I've put on the back burner because honestly my time has just gotten like sucked away. I'm just like, really I do have time for those things. I just have to force myself to like put my phone down.
It's just doing other things and setting those boundaries. And I feel like a big thing with the new iPhone updates and stuff, it's the do not disturb. Like that's just a huge thing that will help you.
It is my best friend. Like I feel like my phone is on do not disturb all the time. Like I'm like, no, don't disturb.
Unless when I'm texting you and it says do not disturb and it says like send anyway, I always send anyway. Like she's got to see this message.
And I'm just like, how are these coming through? No, I like it though because I do feel like there's things that I miss and I'm like, oh wait, like text messages. That's its own whole thing. But I'm like, that's normally quick, right? It's not like I get like I'm sitting in our messages scrolling. But no, I do think like you were saying, if it doesn't weigh on your mental and like a lot of this is like you're like, oh, that doesn't happen to me. Happy for you, proud of you. That's amazing. And if it does happen to you, you're not alone. We understand. Your besties get it. Like it's not always the easiest. Like being a creative in the industry and having Instagram. It's like definitely a double-edged sword or whatever they say.
But this has been so fun, you guys. We always love chatting with you in the mornings, but you will see us here every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m.
So if you guys like what you heard today and you want to hear more episodes from us, make sure you like and subscribe to our podcast. Leave us a 5-star review, and we actually have our new Instagram page up and running. It's at Coffee with Your Besties, and next week's going to be our Thanksgiving episode, and we want to hear from you guys. So head over to our Instagram page and fill out all the questions, share your stories. We're so excited.
We're going to be sharing about just our favorite memories from the Thanksgivings in the past, our favorite meals. It's going to be so much fun.
All the things we're grateful for. Just a very fun, uplifting holiday episode.
We love Thanksgiving.
So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.